Good day to you, good evening. Yesterday was Father's Day. I want to consider some facts about a life journey from child, young man to father. So we begin life as little children, always demanding what we need at the time we need it. Quickly we get hungry and we want it immediately. Now that's okay for a little child. But there's a personality that never grows up from being a little child. Then in that case what happens is you always demand what you want at the time you want it. So this is a journey. So when then comes the stage of the young man, where the young man wants to do, prove and show it. My way is highway. And this young man begins to consider marriage only when he finds there is a need inside him that says, get help. Now, he may offer his love to a young maiden, which he should, but he must realize that he has come to the end of his living by himself attitude, living for himself, and there is a vacant space in his heart, so to say, in his inside, that wants to be filled up with someone who will share his life. Someone who will share his life, so he searches for a marriage partner. And the Good Shepherd's design is man marries a woman. Now, there is an inside shape in us that prepares us for fatherhood, of course, which shape begins to identify my inside shape that will fit my life partner. This is true for man and this is true for woman. And when the two end meet, the common saying is that marriage was made or matched in heaven. There's some truth in that, in the sense I'm looking for the shape, the fit of my heart that can share another, it's like the two hands come together like that. So every damsel, when proposed to, must hear the cry in that heart that this person is really in need of sharing his life. That's the way marriage is made. Without that, hearing that cry, the young man is not ready for the life journey that makes the life journey within marriage begins. The search for marriage, the desire for marriage, need for marriage comes up when a man is about to enter fatherhood as designed by the Good Shepherd. So the father within is now taking shape and calling out for it to be, and the way forward, of course, is marriage. So then the young man who has been living for himself, his way is best, and of course he'll put his best foot forward, and he will show up, he will perform or perish, swim or sink kind of attitude, he'll get on to things. And then when father takes over, what becomes to him is he wants to share what he has, he wants to care, and he wants to serve. So the father, there are 7 attributes of the father already inculcated into you to show up when you are ready for that stage of the journey. First is, you are a seer, one who sees ahead. This is the way it is said, that you are a builder and you are a watcher. So there's an engineer in you to be the father, there's an architect in you to be a father, there's a teacher in you to be a father, there's a coach in you to be a father. So the architect has visionary in the sense he looks at a couple, their need and the available space and available wealth, and he designs a house according to their need and their fit. That's a visionary thing. It's a seer thing. Seer is seeing what others don't see, feeling what others don't feel, hearing what others don't hear. So this quality that fits you for fatherhood begins to operate as you consider marriage. You first begin to see the shape in her. I'm now speaking from the masculine, male point of view, because I'm talking about Father's Day and father. You begin to see in her the shape that you wanted to share. And you feel it will be a good compliment to have that sharing. That's the first seeing with which you begin to see. Then as architect, you begin to visualize the rooms of your house, what it is going to be like, and you work towards making it. So the seer part is that you begin to see. Then later in life, when children come, you begin to see what they are going to be like. So father walks in the ups and downs of a child's life. He will coach the kids during this long wait and preparation, because there's a waiting time, sit down time, and getting up time. So father needs to know that when you're coaching your family, sit down time is often a little bit of agony, pain, wait, long wait, and then comes the rising up time for the next step and the next stretch and the next promotion. So father is a coach. Father is one who says, do as I do. That's what the coach says. When you want to get a stroke corrected, do as I do. So some bad strokes we learnt in our past may begin to play the bad strokes once again when you're getting ready for marriage and even after children come. Then you say, I have to get my stroke corrected. So coach is the person who corrects the stroke. Do as I do. But of course, father is also a teacher. So there's a part in which you have to say, do what I say. So that's okay, but not as a commander, as an instructor and a teacher. So some fathers are very good at the teaching part and not so good at the coaching part. Now father has to know what is what your strength is, what your weakness is when you are managing the family. Right at the outset, I have to say that it is not only, you are not only father to children, you are father of the whole house. When you marry, your wife has a need for your fatherness to take care of her also, because she has left her father and mother and come under your shadow. So you are not the Good Shepherd's idea of marriage, not that you are equal, but that you are taking care. You are a good steward, making it equal, making it happen, sharing equally, but you have to father the whole marriage, you have to father the whole family. So wife's welfare is also included in your fatherness, in your fathering, so to say. Sharing with her and caring for her and giving her, you always provide her the space that is needed. So if the first quality is seeing ahead what needs to be done for a child, what needs to be done for the family, what needs to be done for family wealth, what needs to be done for living space, you can see how the architect's seer vision, SWR, seeing ahead comes into play. Then comes the serving, seer and the server. So the seer in the father makes always provision to take hold of the next step and next stretch. But the server in the father, you make it secure now. So you don't give up security now to get at the next thing. You make it safe now, as well as reaching out to what is there more. So that is the seer sees ahead, and the server who makes it secure now. Then the teacher who say, do what I say, and then the coach, do as I do. You model it out. It may be, and the best time for modeling is playtime. So fathers take great opportunity to put things right while playing. Children are more amenable to correction and molding while you are praying. Yes. So make full use of playtime so that you have coaching opportunities during play, or at least half an hour of football or cricket or just cycling, or just run around in the garden, do some gardening, do an aquarium. Provide opportunities that give you time, casual time, so that when you have to correct a character fault of your son or daughter, which you have identified, sit down time is good, but doing with play time, moving along, walking along, happy time is even much better. So father recognizes the sit-down periods in which molding happens, character building. Then the rising up moments when recognition comes. You train children in both modes of life. So in seasons of growth or uncertainty, a dad is the seer who sees, the struggling son or daughter will go through and prepare them emotionally knowing that EQ, SQ, and IQ all build together when the father interacts. That's the father's place in life. So this father as builder, then father as watchman, watching the best interests of the family. Watching the best interests of the family, and knowing the seasons that are coming ahead. Then that's another watchman role. You begin to pick up, feel something is not right with my daughter. So you get that inner sense, the sixth sense. So father has to be that one who feels through how things are, and then you attend on it without delaying. Of course, with discussion with mom, because mom can be quite involved in things and she may not pick it up, but you may pick it up. So that aspect of mistake management must be strong in a father's life, and checking the season or the time when your daughter or son is going through a trouble. Don't miss that patch, because that challenge time, trouble time is also a good time to get on their side, and they begin to listen to you much better. So don't think a trouble time, a challenge time is difficulty and a trouble. It's not so. It is a wonderful molding time as the potter. So in the potter allegory, in the olden days, the potter had a wheel. When it is turning, the potter picks up and molds and fashions and removes the pebbles and the roots in the clay till that pot comes through well. Then the father is considered an archer. So that it is as if your growing age of the children, they are in their quiver, and that's where the arrows are kept. This is an old example. Then the bow of life, the rod, and it bends, and then you have the cord of the bow, and you keep it close. You are holding on to your son's life like that. But the provision you have, the Good Shepherd has given you, the provision the Good Shepherd has given you, you are holding on to it, and you stretch it, and you fit each child and take aim. This child might be an engineer, his ways are rather straight, he's always doing math, and he's straight as a straight line. That's the arrow of the engineer. Then another child is very talkative, very creative, not too good at math, but very good at art. But God the Father in heaven gives you ability to make that child also. So you are keeping that child in your quiver, and then at launching time you launch them. In the old terminology, either a right brain child who's kinesthetic, good at music, good at art, good at creative, or the left brain child. This is the old classification, who's mathematical and quite straight line thinking, good at math. So whether your child is engineer or artist, God the Father, the Good Shepherd, gives you ability to keep that arrow in your quiver and launch them from season to season, and so that you watch their life path going like that till they land in their own plot. That's the idea. Then you have, not that you have finished your course, you have launched them adequately, and then from the background you keep watching. So there's a keep and grow time, and there's a launch time. So those launch times come obviously when the child is 5 years old and going to school. That launch time comes when the child is 13 and they are crossing those hormone years. At that time, father must be more available than at other times, because if you miss those 13, 14 years because of your busyness, they find peers as friends for discussion and for opinion. After that, they will not want you. So when the child is approaching 12, 13, 14, be their best friend. Increase your interaction time. It's a critical time. Because let's say you married at 30, and when the child is 14, you are 44. That's also your half-life beginning. So what is the beginning of your half-life? With vigor and success, you have worked very hard to get there. But at 43, 44, you enter that stage from success, you have to give, now move on to significance. From So your success, which was, thank God, it was good, you had to move on to stewarding the lives of others, firstly at home. Lives of your children, now they are 14, they are ready to be molded by you, and they need your input far more than your corporate. So never forget, when you're on to 14, when you're on to 43, 44, your children are on to 13, 14, and if you married early, had children early, even earlier, so you need to watch that season when you have to become their best friend in order to be have a say, input in their life later on. Now this is all a few more things. The home is the bonding platform mother and father make for the child. Home is the belonging bonding platform of kids, from which they are launched into performance platform beginning with school. When you get their belonging and values stabilized, they will move to success and significance in their performance platforms. How parents provide for bonding and interaction gears them up for future greatness in the field they choose. Giving time and answering every question make them know they are priceless beyond gadgets. What parents buy will never outdo what money cannot buy. Time, bonding, intimacy, patience, affirmation, cheer, and encouragement. So here is something a father has to do, and a child will say, you have searched me and known me. You have to sit with your child and discover their growing seasons. What are they growing into? So we get sensitive about how they are growing inside. Dad also engages son or daughter in deep conversation to reveal to them their strengths and weaknesses. You may even jot it down. What are you strong at? I mentioned 4 aspects of the father: the seer, the server, the teacher, the trainer. Then, of course, you have to make them wise in money management, which is very important. It's father who gives them sense of how to handle money. And of course, how you do this is give them a little pocket money, tell them to save something, and what they will do with their pocket money. And of course, as they grow up, how much money you give them will increase. So money handling, you have to coach them in, because it's also a gift of God. How much money you get into your hand, how much money they are capable of handling. So father's role has to involve money management from younger days, because what you start in younger days, it's important. Then the 6th quality the father has is to train them in leadership. Meant the leadership training in family environment for son and daughter. They absorb it as to how you lead your home and how you lead your wife's portion of life. This is so important. Many busy men, many successful men miss this, and their kids go so far off. The father was so achieving, so successful, and kids didn't make it. They were no shade. They were not a chip of the old block. There were no shade of it. Why? Because the father had expended all his genius on the corporate and not for the family and the home. So if we build family, the city is safe. If we don't build home and family well, city becomes unsafe. That's the truth. Because city is extension of home into the byways and the roadways. So if things are not going well in the home, in the family, city goes wrong. All upheaval times had family downturn, and city suffered with the family. So walks and talks, I told you, and do not stuff your family holiday with high energy entertainment in very complicated, sophisticated places. Your family holiday time must have enough for you to do with your children, with your innovation. The card games and all that also help. So you have to. I will get to how you set your timetable daily as a successful dad. So if you make your motto, success is at home, and significance will follow wherever you go. But success is at home. Here are some other little catchphrases. Father is the lover and protector of mom. That's his fatherhood identity that children absorb. What you provide for your wife, children will provide for you in old age. That's a fact. What you don't provide for your wife, you're going to suffer in old age. Pardon me for saying this so strongly, because that's what they absorb. The amount of family they absorb from you at home, they return to you in your golden sunset. So that please be wise to be enough, sufficiently caring for your wife, which is the first aspect of your fathering role, because family grows out of it. Then you teach them how to make decisions, not to be hasty, not to be in bottom-up regulation, not to just jerk into decisions. Then you are creative fun maker, you are evergreen, you create habitudes of the home, your habits become attitudes of the family ethos. Father's influence is so strong. Little later now we will get on to what if father is absent. We will look at that. So evergreen creates habitudes, and you are the hero and the playmate at the same time. So keep enough playtime with children. Simple sports, something like table tennis is excellent because the return is quick, coaching is small. Cricket is fine. Any playtime is good enough, even just running on the beach. But keep enough playtime, that's the coaching time. Then father is admirer, encourager, cheerleader. He is the last resort. And family says, wait till dad comes. He will help us with this. So be a handyman with your hands, and you begin that with building blocks and with mechanoset, doing it when they are young. From young days, when you're engineering and building, mechanoset and that kind of stuff, mechanoset is better than Lego, but Lego is also good. You're already tending on their character, building their character up. Please recognize that. Reduce your screen time and give it for this building time. Father is builder, he is engineer, he is architect. Architect sees and provides space, opportunity, conversation, more and more. What if father is not there? Absent father, don't be an absent father. So you have to give time and give your presence. So when you come home, no smartphone for 2 hours. Your emails can wait, your WhatsApp can wait. Discipline yourself. When you are coming home, 6 o'clock, 6:30, hopefully not later than 7, but from the time you are stepping in through that door, you are fully available for family. That's very important. Then you can catch up. After 2 hours at home, if you have some essential office work, you can catch up, but at least 2 hours. You must be visible, audible, very present. Second kind of father is disconnected father who doesn't communicate or communicates in the wrong way. So plan for every family meal time, and 7 p.m. is happy family time. Those who pray, those who read scriptures, reading a good book. I have 5 good books for fathers to read with their children that will make them spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, and character-wise sound. I'm available for send a WhatsApp message. I'm Dr. Lalith Mendis. Send a WhatsApp message to 076-313-4800. These books are available from Sarasavi, Vijitayapa, and Apeksha bookstores in Morotua and Borella. I have my app Golden Nuggets, which is free for download. Google and from App Store. It's free of charge. I have more clips on these lines. But now an important subject. Father sits down every morning, is possible, to do a little quick timetable. Get your son and daughter to write it down. It is important. What is written down stays in the mind. But you interact with them. It takes only 5 minutes. Just say, and get the children to wake up with sunrise. They must see the sunrise. Then the bio clocks get into motion. They must also see sundown off their screens and somehow go to a window or wherever to see sundown. Then melatonin gets set to work through the night. I have specific clips on this. Maintaining timetable, initiating the timetable is father's business. So in the morning, so they are up by 6. Otherwise, when they jerk up out of the bio clock order at 10 in the morning, it is not good for their health. It's not good for their study patterns. So sunrise, wake up is a good thing by at least 6 o'clock. Then before you go to work, you check with him, how is it like today? How is school like? What will you do after school? What will you do in between online studies? So there are things I have done to stop them getting digitized while on online studies. Please get some of those clips. And then after 2 o'clock, what will you do? So you plan a rough timetable with them. Not that they have to stick to that hourly timetable, but they know there is a timetable. So at 5 o'clock, play time, 6 o'clock, screen shutdown time or reducing time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, then bedtime. Of course, then I strongly counsel parents not to allow children to take digital gadgets into their room. Hard counsel, but try to get it early. And remove LED lights from bedrooms because it affects, the blue light frequency affects sleep and memory, though it will help the electricity bill. Yes, what else would I like to point out to you? So kids may resent scrutiny, but a wise dad knows how needed scrutiny is. Scrutiny is not spying on your kids. The best scrutiny is when what you taught and what they absorbed from you by precept and by practice watches over their choices and character even when you're out of sight. In fact, when you're long gone, they remember, this is how Dad did it. Dad is irreplaceable. So my emphasis today is Dad, because yesterday was Father's Day. Then a kid feels they are safe with their secrets when they share with parents. So what's that falling sleep time? That's the GABA empathy time. GABA is gamma aminobutyric acid. That's the thing that works in their brain to say, I must tell this to mom, I must tell this to dad. Work with the child's cycles of serotonin, satisfaction. Family time is oxytocin. The eating time, food time is always a very happy time. Never discuss unpleasant things about government, about work, about bosses or any other thing at family meal time. Meal time is a very happy time. It's the best time parents will ever get for the habitudes you want to have, get them to have lifelong. So I caution you about absent father, disconnected father. Be communicative. Of course, communicate with time, communicate with hugs, communicate with gifts, 5 different love languages. Do all 5. Permissive father, the father who did not bring in moral disciplines, then the children go wrong. There's a sad thing. Then the negligent father who did not provide for the family. Then be an emotional, passionate father, so the children have a good emotional build-up. Then, if father was not there, the orphan nature comes in. How does the orphan nature work? Orphans live by law. They felt always they had to prove, they had to perform. They feel undervalued. So whatever you do for them in later life, even when they are much achieved, maybe even wealthy, they always mark down others. They mark up their performance. They have a perfectionist attitude that everything must be exactly right. That brings a lot of pressure in workplaces and in the home. So often may be one who had a father fracture or a mother fracture. When you have a mother fracture, it affects your inside intimacy. You don't want to take anybody inside. When you have a father fracture, it affects your working out your boundaries, moving out to the world, competence, confidence in handling challenges and situations. So the father trains the child in always going to the next limit, stepping up, broadening the boundary, broadening the territory. It's dad who does that. When the dad hasn't been there, the child is always evasive, will not take challenges. Then some children, where the father has not been there, they become outwardly aggressive because they are different. They are putting a defense. They look very belligerent. They have taken the option of, bark before their bite. Their bark is worse than their bite, because that's a front to guard their territory. But father was not there to make them feel secure. Father gives the security. So some become very aggressive. Some veer away from challenges. They can't face up to it. They often resign from jobs and look for another job. In every workplace, they find the boss is wrong. So then you need to understand this young man. He might be an old man by the time he comes your way. He didn't have a father's security network. That's why he behaves like that. Thirdly, when a father has not been there, morals and the do's and the don'ts, the sexual identity and sexual safety is formed by a father's masculine presence. In an age where that denies gender, they get it all wrong, because there's a good shepherd and a father above who has designed us in a certain way. So it is the father who gives daughter or son sexual safety and sexual identity so that they can preserve themselves till the right time, the right person in marriage alone. So when a father has been absent and a son or daughter feels orphaned, they fall for the first love, they fall for the wrong love, they think they are to be wanted, and they get into sexual trouble. So the dad is the one who knew how to give them that sense of wanted, sense of belonging, sense of appreciation and value. So this identity and belonging, value and worth, success and significance greatly involves the father's presence and interaction at all ages. So if the father was not there, they feel insecure, there's a sense of lack of peace, and they become very legalistic. They are not easy, and in relationships they try to own you. So that becomes, then you know that this person did not have a father who gave them ownership and belonging. They strive for praise and approval, have a perfectionist attitude, and they find it very difficult sometimes to accept themselves. The best measure is not enough. They are trying to improve what cannot be improved. So you can pick those up. Then they have a need for personal achievement anyhow. So they can be opportunistic, cut the sod from underneath others. They can be bad team players. So you must understand they also must be given a chance to get to know. Ultimately, a father's lack can be provided only by the Heavenly Father's love. However, fathers in the city, fathers in workplaces, fathers at home can certainly help in pitching to help their bonding. Then they always have an attitude of duty and earning God's favor or anybody else's favor. They have to earn it, they feel. Then self-rejection is often, self-sabotage is often, that is, things they do that disprove themselves, things they do that run themselves down. They can seek comfort in counterfeit affections, addictions, compulsions, escapisms, busyness, even hyper-religious activity to get it that I have arrived. They are always trying to prove the point, I have arrived. They are trying to prove it to others, they are trying to prove it to themselves. So it's a lot of work, a lot of hard work. They feel tired, they can get exhausted, frustrated, depressed, stressed, anxiety often. Competition and rivalry, jealousy easily come up in them because the father was not there. They had to do it all by themselves. Then to do court, indict others, accuse, and blame transferring, I'll never forgive you kind of statements are quite there. And they feel authority is a Pharaoh, and they become authoritative pharaohs when they are bosses in a workplace. Difficulty in receiving admonition, they think correction is condemnation. So you have to give them a lot of cheer, appreciation, and then correct. Father must have a particular role on mistake management. I have a couple of books on right learning, and mistake management is one. You can WhatsApp me at 076-313-4800 as to how you can get a book. These are small booklets for the family to read together. Then they can be guarded and conditional and distant. They sort of, you feel as if you are not really meeting them. You feel as if there's a wall and a fence around them when you have to deal with them. They can become very ambitious, and they really do not know what will please them, and they can fight you to get their own end. So you need patience to handle a son or daughter who is now a big man. Might be quite achieved and successful, because they can become that. That's their life, achievement and success. And then how to handle them when they're 40 years old, isn't it? And you're a senior at workplace. You'll always meet this kind of people. I think I have got through most of the things I wanted to share with you. Just a few more things. Addendum. Father needs a child because it's good for father to bless the child while the child is in the womb. Then joyous welcoming of the child at birth. Most places now provide for father to be present at labor time. Then love-drenched discipline comes from the father, boundary setting. Moral authority comes from the father. Sexual identity and health comes from the father. Affirmation, appreciation, approval. The 3A Fitch rating for inside development. Then belonging, identity and certainty comes from the father. And altruistic care, that they will do something for another helpfully, expecting nothing. That's a trait father teaches. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you about how a father does well, and in the case of father wasn't there, was absent, how the orphan personality plays out, and what you can do to heal it out. And above all this, we know our good shepherd wants to come into our life. All human errors he took up on the cross. So cross was a place, all human shortcomings, cruelty was taken out. And he said, he believed, our Savior believed, that the goodness he can reward you with, the goodness he can invest in us, can cover up and heal all that had gone wrong in a lifetime. That is called redemption. His love pays the price, gives us the best to get the wrong things set in us right. You know, those days there were fountain ink pens, and a maths teacher may get very irate and mark a red cross mark like that, that goes through many pages. Now we don't have fountain ink pens. But when those many pages, one error gone through many pages, and those errors, he's able to take over and erase them without a blotch, without a smudge. Even you cannot know there was a thing like that. That is called forgiveness and restoration. So we take hope, whatever our fathers could do or did not do. We take hope in a Heavenly Father who can get it right for us again and again. Thank you for listening. We'll join in another time.